everyone. Happy new moon in Aries. Welcome into the channel. So happy to be here with you always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we're going to look at the energy for the new moon, which is happening tomorrow, all day tomorrow, depending on where you're located. And we're going to look at it via the tarot, astrology, and any channeled messages that come through. So let's get into it. I hope you're doing well. Aries energy, new moon in Aries is good vibes. There's actually like some pretty good transits happening. There is definitely tension, but the whole thing about Aries is it rules the first house, the house of self. So it gives us this opportunity to spend time investment into self, right? Like how we're feeling, our confidence, our creativity, the way we're showing up in our life. Hey girl, happy day. Hope you're well. Happy new moon in Aries. It's so good to see you here always. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate you and all the love and support. So we're in this space where like we are really kind of getting a little bit more comfortable around our confidence, around our integrity, or just kind of like how we're changing our choices in our lives in the day to day, even the major things, right? Not just the mundane things. I think the mundane things are hitting a little bit closer to home, the places that we are experiencing shift, transition, things that we've been used to, acclimated to for quite some time. And now things are changing and it's not all easy, right? And we do have to know self in order to understand how we want to best show up in these dynamics. As we've been progressing towards the new moon, um, it's been giving us the Aries, that fire energy of Aries has been giving us a little bit more confidence and strength to find courage to approach things from a new angle or put ourselves out there in a new way, etc. There are some things that are tensely aspecting this, though, like I said, and it can come across as some of the responses that we're getting right now are no's, like definitive no's, and that might not necessarily be the case. There is this energy of to be determined. And what I really like about the positive aspects is it's continuing to find our power, right? Connect with those parts of ourselves in a really honest and authentic way. Not so much because someone else is trying to push it on you, force it on you. If anything, we're finding a lot more ease to speak our truth, say what we need to say, what works for us, or even just kind of take certain steps and not have to make excuses or um, divulge every nook and cranny of what we choose, right? It's actually just kind of like having that confidence in self and then acting accordingly. And if people have questions, they can ask, right? That empowerment of self is also catering to the tension. We'll look at that a little bit tonight. And places that we might be getting some responses either we don't like, or if we're responding to someone else in a way that they don't like, that can be met with some backlash. So let's get into it. I really like starting out with an energy cleansing just to set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleansing out those places we might feel blocked or limited. It's a great time to set your own intention, especially if you do have something on your heart, on your mind, something you would like spirit to deliver messages to you around. Definitely give that over, be open to receive. Spirit is always looking to speak to us, and oftentimes it's just we need to ask and listen for the response, right? I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing, wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, or if you're more interested in that realignment of self, your mind, body, soul. I do energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. When we are strong, grounded in self, that is where we find happiness, fulfillment. That's where we're able to achieve our goals, manifest in a really strong, powerful, fluid way. And I would love to support that for you in whatever way possible. Definitely hit me up. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. All right, let's get into it. New moon in Aries. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so we may see and understand the messages clearly and help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, spirit guides, guardian angels, mama love. All right. So, new moon, I really love new moon energy because it is the proverbial blank slate, or, adjustments, making adjustments so it can better fit our wants, our needs. Where we're seeing some of the tension, like I said, is kind of how people are actually interacting and engaging with the change that's happening. We're seeing a lot of tension with the vertex point. And if you've been following along in the readings, I've been talking a lot about this. The vertex point is essentially situations that are kind of meant to go in a certain direction for our evolution, our growth, learning, karma, however you want to understand it. But it's like when we meet certain people and it's like we're supposed to engage in this lesson with them so we can grow and be better versions of ourselves. And that is being really tensely aspected during this new moon. And I think a lot of this is playing out in terms of resistance, like resistance where, like I was saying, people, situations are uncomfortable with the change, can't necessarily stomach it because there's a lot of empowerment, like I've been saying on repeat. There's a lot of empowerment. And that's both good and bad, right? Like it's such a great energy to tap into when it comes to achieving certain goals, putting energy towards changing behavior, really like sitting down, scrutinizing like how you want to show up. And especially as we're moving into Taurus season, which happens on the 20th. Taurus is about stability. It's like money and possessions, that it rules the second house of, and like kind of how we create our stability. So we empower ourselves first, and then we actually have to bring it into our lives real time. And so I like that the new moon has been falling at the end of the season lately, because it's almost like we get to learn what we need to learn and then put it into practice and carry it into the next season. So rosemary is the overarching energy, remembrance, loyalty, faithfulness. Rosemary is connected to our memory, our intellect. It's very good for clarifying, especially if you're having congestion or mental fog, etc. It's really good to kind of cleanse out some of that and hopefully relieve it. It's not, sorry, I was going to go on a tangent. There is, but if you're doing some meditation or some pranayamic breathing, etc., you can use a little rosemary essential oil on a Kleenex, inhale it, kind of bring that into your meditative awareness to cleanse some of how you're thinking, how you're feeling. I do feel like you're going to need your mental capacity. That's what I'm hearing. And especially as it relates to some of these challenges. Because with the vertex point, it's bringing in people and dynamics that we've been dealing with for a long time, whether it's the same person or if it's a different person situation and the patterning is the same. It's essentially about the patterning, right? And that's where I feel like the ways that you've been growing, you're going to need your intellectual prowess to whatever capacity. Maybe that's the wrong way to, but it has this like, you're going to need all your faculties. And you're building this element of safety, peace with the hearth. It symbolizes safety, comfort, spiritual connection. I love this altar in the background. That's a great practice you can do, cultivating a space in your home where you can, set up things that are important to you. You can come, you can say a prayer, you can honor ancestors, honor whatever part of your life. And it is just like a sacrament to self. It's sacrament to who came before you, who comes after you, and also how you're showing up for yourself in this world, in this life that you're living. I know that's a little bit more on the esoteric side of things, but I feel like this is about building that foundation of integrity because your life is looking a little bit different present day. And as it's looking different, I think you're going through experiences that are giving you the opportunity to have a little more mental clarity and awareness why you're doing what you're doing, what feels right, what fits right, and then why you're doing it. And I think that all needs a really solid foundation from which to work from. And you've been building that. I feel like not only have you been building that, but I feel like you're going to continue to build that. Exactly what I was just talking about with the fact that the new moon in Aries is at the end of Aries season, because we're going right into, ironically or not, the cards never lie, a season of prosperity. Basil is such a good herb to use, especially if you want to do a little money magic, draw in some more abundance. Nothing better than Taurus time, Taurus season to do so. In this deck, it symbolizes prosperity, luck, love. I'm hearing this as like not only prosperity, and it doesn't just have to be financial. We're not that surface at this channel, I promise. Abundance, prosperity comes in so many different ways. It's also nice to have a little money in your pocket, right? And I hear that that's kind of the energy that it's bringing. Like, even if you are having difficulties in the money department or just feeling nervous about certain things, whatever this energy is coming in towards you, it's allowing you to cast some of these worries aside. It feels like it is a little bit out of left field. We'll look at that with the tarot. What am I talking about over here? I have no idea. No, we'll look into that a little bit deeper to see how that plays out. But it feels like the action steps that you're taking right now are good and right. And they're leading you in a direction that makes sense for you. Obviously, where this prosperity is coming into play. And also, something I feel like spirit, universe, God, however you understand it, is going to confirm it to you 100%, especially with this oak tree. It looks like you're going to be looking back on everything that you've kind of gone through, overcome, and it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm hearing disbelief. Like you won't even be able to believe what you did. That makes me so happy. Oak tree symbolizes power, courage, and strength. Like I feel like you've built something that's way more powerful than what you can even understand sitting here listening to this reading. And I feel like spirit is really coming in to confirm that. But here's the thing, that's where I'm picking up. There might be a little bit of like, you're not even paying attention to this energy, or it comes a little bit out of left field. Because you're focused on like what you're doing. And it almost is like, I feel like you are receiving this gratefully 100%. You're thankful, but you want to continue doing what you're doing. Like it's not like one of those things like, oh yeah, I made it. Now I can do whatever the F I want type thing. It's like an appreciation, but then you go back to the drawing board and you continue on. There's this great book, it's one of my favorites. It's called Mastery, and it talks a lot about how, most of life we live on the plateau, continuing to kind of plug away, refine, and then we get those little spurts of growth, of success, of achievement. And then we have some new things to work on, and it maybe feels a little bit bleak as I say that. But I was just reminded of this interview with, I'm not like a sports person. But like there was this interview with Bill Lambier. He's a basketball player, and he had won like the championship, and they were like, "What are you gonna do next?" And he's like, "Well, I have to work on my free throws. I didn't do this how I wanted, and so I'm gonna like going back and working on himself." And I think that's just like a beautiful representation of no matter what level we hit, there's always things that we want to grow around. And I'm not saying that in a way to be bleak, like life is a never-ending uphill battle, because I don't think it's that. I don't necessarily see you perceiving it as that either. But there's also like, I think sometimes, and especially modern day with instant gratification, etc., it's so easy to expect things immediately and expect this certain idea of success, which this fruit card symbolizes. And this is in your blocked energy right now. And I feel like that's just more, I don't know, whatever. This might be an annoying thing, but I'm hearing it's just like it's part of the divine timing. It's part of like the stability that you are growing and building, because this isn't like a fleeting thing. This isn't a fair weather thing. This is something that you're like actually doing for yourself that is catering to your longevity. And it's beautiful and it's powerful and it's abundant. And let's get into the tarot. All right. Okay. Ooh, lots falling out. Let's see. We have 10 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. Did that energy come up for us was that our weekly? I have no idea. Only 12 hours ago and I forget. No, I try to be an open channel, if that makes sense, like not attaching on to what I'm saying. But there's an energy surrounding you, an energy that does have more stability, that is looking to work with you. 7 of Pentacles. We have the Page of Wands. There might be a difference of opinion, a little bit of it feels like there's some tension, either argument or difference of opinion is what I'm seeing. This feels like a past energy, and I feel like someone made some really decisions that they feel like they're ready to come back from. We do have the 7 of Pentacles, though, coming out at first. So we'll see. This kind of feels like a background energy. I'm not going to get into this too much because I really love like this abundance and like vibrance that's coming through. Okay. It does look like someone's having a change of heart. This background energy feels like we have the Queen of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, and the 3 of Pentacles. So someone's like really either focusing on you, watching you, wanting to work with you, wanting to come out of the woodwork, especially from a situation where there was difference of opinion, where like, again, maybe tension and fighting. You guys went your own separate way. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure that has changed, like the opinions. I think the opinions are still what they are. And so I don't know if there's other people that are feeding into this, because we have the Emperor and the King of Swords coming up. But it looks like someone's changing their tune. Unfortunately, the Devil comes out. I don't know. don't know. This is weird. I think this energy has come up a lot. I think that, and I don't want to go too deep because I don't want to make all the readings the same, but it definitely has this vibe of someone wanting to kind of connect, but having a really hard time with it at the same time because there's a lot that has changed. It's not the same anymore. What they perceived as you maybe being immature, not really getting it, or like whatever, it's actually kind of changed into you being good without them. And I think this is part of what maybe even spurred you into this direction. People are, it looks like several people you might know of, whatever. Take it how it resonates. It doesn't have to be a group of people. It can be. If it doesn't fit, don't worry about it. It can be one person or it doesn't resonate. um, but it feels like definitely like watching you change, watching you do something that they didn't believe that you were actually going to do, or it has this energy of like they're going to come back, they don't know what they're doing. Page of Wands, it feels like a little bit of immaturity playing out, or that's their perception. And so I think how they're seeing you right now is like not really sure how to go about things, not really sure how to interact, engage, what to say, especially if you've been in a time where there is no communication. That is an extra card that I found. Okay. But we start off with Seven of Pentacles. So it does really talk about how some of these things have been a little bit long waited, right? I.e., like you're not seeing the fruits of your labor, you're not seeing your success, but this is saying that it is coming in. And it has taken a long time to build this foundation, and probably because of whatever that energy is that you're coming from. When we have people that don't believe in us or kind of like treat us in a not so nice way, it makes it really hard to find your inner strength and power to still believe in yourself, to strengthen those mental tapes, right? We all have them, the places that it's hard to find courage. There's I don't know, for some reason some of this hasn't really quite closed out yet with the Death card. Seven of Pentacles and the Death is in the blocked energy. And this feels a lot like the forward movement that you are doing with the Ten of Swords. Okay. Like I feel like there's this Knight of Wands, so someone who just kind of continues to do the same thing over and over and over again. And it's really kind of getting them in a bad place. But this feels like an energy you've already been dealing with. Like something just kept happening, a pattern that was not good, that was not healthy for you, that didn't benefit you or benefit your life, or like whatever it was that you were trying to grow and build for yourself. And so you have had to make some boundaries. And I feel like you've actually made boundaries while this person continued to participate in whatever this is, and that's that energy that I'm picking up. Like you're moving on and you're continuing to move on. And with this new moon in Aries, it is a little bit of like putting our money where our mouth is, putting your money where right, is that the saying? I think so. I should probably know what I'm saying before I say it. But that's the vibe. Like it's, when we get into these situations with people and we kind of go over what's happened and we make our decision, what our opinion is, what we're going to do moving forward, etc. And then it comes time to actually make that decision. And I feel like that's where you're at, or I feel like that's kind of what's coming out of the woodwork with whatever this background energy is for you. And interestingly enough, in the new moon, we also have it's not a tense aspect. It's actually like positively aspecting. Well, it's positively aspecting the new moon, but Mercury, Mars, and Saturn, they're all in a cluster. And that's where we're seeing some of the stagnancy. where things that we actually want to work out in one way are manifesting. Like things are happening behind the scenes, is what I'm trying to get at. And just because there are some certain things that are popping us up that are maybe making us think otherwise, I'm hearing that's another layer of this mental strength that you have to have around standing firm in your decisions. Someone, something might not like it, but we actually can see through bullshit a little easier too. Excuse my language. But if someone's like lying or trying to pull one over on you, like you're going to be able to see it pretty clearly. Especially if this is a long-term dynamic that you have been dealing with. The sun and the moon are also in conjunction with Chiron. So it's going to feel really good to do positive things for ourselves. Things that help us heal, things that help us grow, things that bring in abundance, prosperity, luck, etc. And it does come down as simple as like making a decision, right? Like really kind of putting everything in this pros and cons list. I've been thinking a lot about that value of like, what is life-giving energy? And when we're investing in life-giving energy, that's what brings in our prosperity and abundance. I'm hearing like you're hitting a new stride. And so it's making it easier to kind of differentiate like what you want to plug into and what you don't want to. There might be some lingering energies around from the past, probably whatever. Sorry, as I'm saying that, this back burner energy that I was just picking up not too long ago. It's still bringing up some emotions. And I think it's a lot tied to like maybe some of the limitation is coming into play for you. It's the fears. That's what I've been picking up. It's like you're getting a lot of validation in your day to day, maybe even more than you're aware. Like maybe you could even tune in like what people are saying about you to you, receive that a little bit better, or validate yourself a little bit more for what you are doing right. Because I think some of the endings that are happening still do feel a little bit raw, but we've been doing a lot of practice and not like going back into those spaces. And actually, the readings have been looking pretty good with Aries season, throughout Aries season, is what I should say. So, but I feel again like all these effing cards keep popping out. And what I'm hearing is it's like someone's like trying to trip you up. Like, I'm just trying to get through this message right now. Right. And they keep falling out all over the place with this guy, King of Pentacles. Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn energy. Someone who, I think wants a little bit more control over you in the situation. Let me look at this a little bit more. Or is maybe I should reword that, is used to having control in whatever way. This could be family. This could be a father figure. This could be a partner. But maybe someone who's used to making a lot of the decisions or thinking that they had that. We have the Six of Swords. We have the High Priestess. This is someone who is making other choices. That's what I was hearing. Like they're actually making active choices to come towards you. I think this is actually a new energy. You could be dealing with any one of those family members I mentioned prior to, but this energy feels new. This energy feels like it's bringing this prosperity with it. It might even just kind of be in your daily outings throughout the rest of the week, into the weekend. It's a great time to do something new, kind of put yourself out there. I always say that, especially this time of year and with the new moon. Taking a class, going to a festival, going to a market, whatever it may be, just communing with people who enjoy doing the same things, meeting new people, bringing in new energies. Ooh, what is this, Justice? Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, I like this card, this energy. This is a new energy that hasn't popped up quite yet, but they might have their own stuff going on. I feel like there's a lot of things in their world that they're kind of trying to keep up and running as well. But let's see who this is to. But basically, it looks like this energy is coming in to help push the needle forward a little bit with the Six of Swords. Kind of like waiting for the right time. We've been getting this energy a lot, like where people aren't moving and they're just like waiting for this hypothetical perfect time. Again, I think it's not anything bad because it does look like they have their own things going on. Hence why, because it's like, I feel like them coming towards you might also feel a little bit selfish, not to you, but that's how they're perceiving it. And they have other obligations that they do need to focus on, things that they feel like they need to tie up before they can really have fun and play. Like you feel more like a enjoyment, a pleasure versus like a duty, if that makes sense. And if you're happily partnered up, it doesn't have to be romantic. You know, this could just be someone that wants to collaborate with you or wants to be your friend or, you know, whatever. Like there's a lot of different ways this can manifest. But this energy brings instability. It's an offer of stability. It brings instability. Let's see what they want with you. What are they bringing? Ooh, the Emperor. Like good backup. This is what I heard. People, situations that have your back. Eight of Cups, walking away from toxicity, toxic people, toxic patterns. Like maybe something that's being a protector for you on some level, especially if you are dealing with the Emperor's Aries energy. I feel like it's going to give you the boost that you need. It's going to give you the validation that you need. And I think it's going to be a very telling thing to other people around you, you know? People who are missing out on their opportunity because of X, Y, and Z, because they keep making the same mistakes, or they don't want to listen, or they don't want to try to get better, or whatever, right? And that goes back to you just like moving on. And I feel like this is something you don't even have to look for. This is something that is actually pursuing you. And with it comes not only like a sense of grounding and stability, but it's also this value of you feeling a little bit more protected. Like you have a lot of more autonomy from the energies that have been difficult just to be difficult, right? The people that just cause chaos, trouble, drama, don't really want to work together, don't really want to follow through on their commitments, etc. All right, let's look at this and we'll close this out. Oak tree. And we're ending the reading with stability. I like it. So this is a stability that you've already taken time to cultivate. You might be unnecessarily stressing yourself out with those places that aren't looking exactly how you want it to look. Because what I'm hearing and what I was picking up with this energy, this King of Pentacles energy, it does feel like you are at the mercy of other people right now. And that's a little annoying. But that's part of this empowerment process with the new moon in Aries. It's like having the willpower, the determination, the courage to make the changes. Stick to your guns when it's appropriate. Be flexible when it's appropriate. And then, yeah, like some of it is a little bit of a waiting game, unfortunately, but it doesn't mean it's never going to happen. And I feel like that's where you start tripping yourself up a little bit, getting into your head, your own mental prison with this Eight of Swords, which is exactly what like Spirit wants you to keep good, high vibrational, positive, and that can be really hard to do. I can totally be a negative well, I don't want to say I'm actually pretty positive, but I can think of worst case scenario. And I have a background in food, so I'm really used to looking at like plating and design and critiquing and whatever. You're constantly critiquing. And that can be really good, but it can also be like very detrimental, especially when it relates to this 8 of Swords energy, where it's like the thoughts that we think become our prison. And making sure, if you are falling into this, making sure that you are doing what you need to do, like I was saying, pranayamic breathing, meditation, taking just some time to be calm, to be still, to allow your soul to have peace, to rest. Like, we don't do that enough nowadays, right? We always have a device on or whatever. And that alone can cater to our anxiety. Ayurveda looks at it as the Vata dosha. The Vata dosha, doshas are our bodily makeup, our constitution, mind, body, soul. Vata is transportation and movement. It's the easiest to go out of balance. And if we think about modern culture, overstimulation, we're all going to be a little bit tweaky, right? And that's exactly, even, sometimes I love being on the up and up about what's going on in the world, but sometimes it's like depressing, like not worth time and energy, or it is about clickbait, like, let me try to fear monger you into clicking this, the world's ending in 3 years, or like whatever. That stuff is everywhere, and fine, maybe it is. Maybe I'm ignorant. Drop comments below if you think so. That's totally fine. I also like my ignorant bubble, just as a heads up. But basically, underlying what I'm trying to get at is honor what you feed yourself, mind, body, soul, right? Honor what you're putting into your mind, because I think that you're actually way more stable and put together than what you even realize. And also, like, it's good to get out and see how that's actually reflected in your day-to-day living. Queen of Swords, 8 of Cups, trying to be a little bit more decisive around not what thoughts you think, but what thoughts you pick up. We can't help what pops in our head, but we can definitely take a hold of a thought and go down the rabbit hole. And then our mind does that thing where it like when you think a thing, it's like, let me find all the pieces that validate that thought you thought, and it becomes a vicious cycle. All right, I'll move on. That got me really pumped up. All right. So you have built this level of stability, trusting in yourself. It's hard to do. 6 of Swords in the blocked energy. It's hard to do when we aren't seeing maybe our version of how things should be at this moment in time. I think when life is moving slower or slower than what we want it to, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It does mean that we need to slow down. It's okay to slow down with this star energy. That's actually giving you the opportunity to heal. When we rush through things, they don't stick. They might last for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever. And then we end up, moving on or doing something else. And I feel like spirit is giving you extra space because of this powerful thing that you're cultivating, that you have already. Like, I feel like the seed has already been sown. You are sprouting. You might not be the full blown oak tree at this moment, but you are, like, you're putting down your roots, is what I'm hearing, or those roots are starting to permeate the soil, dig deep. I don't know. I wish I had a more eloquent way to say that. I apologize. My energy is starting to run out. Well, and then that's the other thing about that Vata dosha, right? If we're just constantly keeping up and doing, our body is going to get exhausted, and then we're going to be depleted. And I feel like that's really counterintuitive to what you are establishing for yourself. What you are establishing is something that is going to last you a long time and feel really beautiful and stable. And I love this. Our last card to end up our reading is the Ace of Cups. And that is this offer. That is like kind of what you're pushing for. And you're in the midst of it. That's what I'm seeing. Like, I think that you're seeing a lot about how spirit is actually enlivening this value of prosperity in your life. The more you plug into yourself in a way that honors your wants, your needs, the more things do start to flow effortlessly. It doesn't mean that there's not challenge, but those challenges become way easier to overcome because we're keeping ourselves healthy and well with the good, the life giving energies that we're imbibing into our life, right? That life force energy, that prana, which is so important for our mind, our body, our soul. Breathing is so underrated. It's actually funny. I was watching something. It was a trauma doctor. He was talking about like how he maintains his calm in high stress situations. And he's like, the number one thing that people who have high stress jobs, whether it is surgeon or, some other, life saving, he was basically saying it's controlling the breath, and Ayurveda is a huge proponent of breathing, pranayamic breathing, doing that intentional breathing, filling up your lung capacity, really releasing, expelling, allowing your cells to be nourished with that life force energy. Prana is essentially a subtler part of oxygen, and it does get delivered to each and every one of our cells. Okay, so this is confirming, notice the signs, things are happening. Again, confirmation, spirit confirmation. I love this energy. Just as a side note, I feel like it's really positive. I feel like it's really good. I feel like good things are happening. I feel like we've been getting a lot of that good energy moving toward forward. It is a part of the journey, not to be cliche, not to be a cheese ball. And here's the thing. It's not like you're going to get to this end point. I think I talked about this earlier, but it's like, there's always, yeah, that mastery. It's like you're always going to be elevating, right? That's the goal. It's when we stay stagnant, when we stay limited, that's when we feel that angst. And I think that that's where some of this has come from, because things haven't been manifesting as much as we've wanted it to, or we have to learn how to, like I said, like work with the energy in a way that helps us and supports us, taking things from a different angle, different approach with this Gemini. We don't have anything in Gemini right now. Uranus is about to go into Gemini. I think it goes next month, if I'm not mistaken. But so right now, like Uranus in Taurus is that thing that's like forcing us to work with what's in front of us. But when Gemini it moves into Gemini season, I feel like we're going to get a lot more flexibility, especially with momentum, progression forward is what I want to say. It's not going to feel so limited. And we are getting some of that with that conjunct that I was talking about, Mercury, Mars, and Neptune. But again, like what I love about Neptune, that silver lining, is like if we can get it on a spiritual level, like this is why I have to go through this so I can better this, or like that bird's eye perspective, seeing the whole instead of just like that limiting piece, we're going to be more okay with it. It might still be annoying and frustrating and blah, 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 but there's this energy like it's not the end of the road. And maybe that's what the overall lesson is that's coming in with this new moon, right? Like there's always opportunity. There's always opportunity, even when it seems like there's no choices at all or we're stuck, limited. Really, what we'd have to do is go back into self. And a lot of times ask the question, what can I do? What are my options? What can I control in this moment? And I feel like that's been the overarching theme of Aries, is really saying like, how does this feel for me? What can I do about it? Do I want to do something about it? Is this okay? Is it not good? Do I need to cut this off? Do I need to like backtrack? Asking ourselves those questions about the things that are in our life that we have to deal with, and then taking a decided stance and approach about what we are going to do about it. And some of that stuff has required change and adjustment within self, unfortunately, or not. But I think now the way that things are manifesting are going to feel a lot more gratifying, right? It's not just going to be like this gold star, well done, you got the prize. It has more of this energy of like things that are becoming very intrinsic parts of the foundation that you're building, right? Things that are bringing in, it feels really good. Like I love this energy. I love the way it looks. I love the way it feels confident, it feels self-assured. Yes, like I said, there are some bumps and bruises, and a lot of that is just coming off of how other people are receiving it. We're knowing who we are in and of ourselves in a lot more intimate way, I'll say, right? A deeper, more intimate way. And then now actually taking the action steps to back up what we feel, what we think about ourselves, about our lives, is how this new moon is playing out for us. So, but again, it feels great. I feel like give yourself credit where credit is due. Try not to slip back into the woe, the shoulda, woulda, coulda, the things that we can't really control, the things that just bring us back into these mental prisons. Yes, always give yourself time, energy to grieve, to process, to let go. Don't necessarily shut it off, but try not to sit in that energy either. Because again, there's a lot of confirmation on the good that you are doing. And sometimes, well, if we're not trusting, if we're not believing, we need to like look with our third eye, our intuitive eye. There, I'll give you that cheese ball moment to end the reading with. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Thank you so much for your time, energy, always, especially if you've made it this far in the reading. Know that it just totally blesses my heart. I hope that you found messages that resonated for you here. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely drop comments below if you did. I love to connect. I love to hear. I love to, sharing a little love, little TLC, because I do so appreciate all the love, all the support to the channel. Know it blesses my heart. And I'm always sending that love, blessings back your way. I will be live Saturday morning for our health and wellness reading. I hope you have a happy, happy new moon, and I'm wishing you the best. All the love, all the strength, all the power. Believe in yourself. I know that's easier said than done, but you can always come back to this channel here and get a little boost of love and encouragement. Sending love. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate you, girl. I hope you have a fabulous new moon. Thank you so much for your time, energy always. I will see you guys Saturday.